happy Friday again. Thought I would take this opportunity to do a special edition of Walworth, Maryland. So, as many people already know, and quite a few more are going to be finding out in the coming weeks, I had to file something with the Court of Appeals yesterday, and I had to file it against the Attorney Grievance Commission and against Bar Counsel Lydia Lawless. Here it is. That's my filing. Here it is. Trust me when I say when I did all of this, yeah, I took about 2 days to do this, everything. I'm not used to it being in front of the Court of Appeals because, well, they get to usually decide what they feel like dealing with. And because of that, a lot of things that I have issues that I thought were important, they didn't think were important. So that's why you'll see on the upload that I'm going to put on the website that I've already started disseminating everything to people. I'll be giving it to press and various other people that I think ought to be paying attention to this. I did, yes, scratch out special because, well, I'm used to being in front of the special appeals because, I'm not trying to say they're the junk court. I'm not trying to say that at all, but they really are the final say, so I don't know why they even bother to call themselves the intermediate appellate court. No, they're really the final say so for, but anyway. So you're going to see in there what I had to say about the Attorney Grievance Commission and how ununiform and how I see them playing favorites, and, well, you'll get to read it all, so let me not spoil the surprise. In honor of it being President's Day weekend, however, and originally President's Day weekend, or President's Day rather, was just, in the federal government, I think it's still called like Washington's Day or something like that. It's in honor of George Washington, as everybody knows, our first president. So I gave some thought before I shot this video about President Washington. There are lots of things that I could probably say about him. I give him his deference for who he is. And, but let's see, one thing that I wanted to pull out, there's a quote that he said, and I'm directing this to the General Assembly, I think, and Mr. Brian Frosh and, all the people helping him, and all the people that are helping him and helping attorneys like that, as opposed to applying things uniformly. When someone has something to say about how an attorney is conducting themselves, it should be even. The things that he's doing, he shouldn't be allowed, or he or his team shouldn't be allowed to do things that other attorneys get flagged for. That's not right. So I saw yesterday, maybe not so coincidentally, that the Court of Appeals, you guys issued a decision in a case called Donnelly. I don't know the guy's first name. But one of the things that you, Court of Appeals, had to say about it is that, let's see, in closing, we take the opportunity to provide guidance concerning the circumstance of a lawyer filing with Bar Counsel a complaint against another lawyer regarding his or her conduct in ongoing litigation in which the complaining lawyer is opposing counsel. Under such circumstances, we believe that it would be advisable for Bar Counsel to await the conclusion of the underlying litigation before determining whether an attorney discipline proceeding is warranted. Following this procedure would avoid any perception that Bar Counsel and the attorney disciplinary process are being used to further the complaining attorney's interest in ongoing litigation. Well, that's one of the things that they've said, and it also talked about Bar Counsel should conduct an investigation that is independent of existing litigation. Best practice would be for Bar Counsel in determining whether to file a petition to conduct an independent investigation and interview individuals. So it's very clear that even with the Court of Appeals, what you guys are saying about your child, because the Attorney Grievance Commission, they are your child. Bar Counsel's your child too. Maybe stepchild, I don't know. But let's see. So anyway, I think that this goes in really well with what it is that got filed yesterday with the Court of Appeals. Best $61 ever. But anyway, so that's one thing. But getting back to George Washington, here's the quote. However political parties may now and then answer popular ends, they are likely in the course of time and things to become potent engines by which cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men will be enabled to subvert the power of the people and to usurp for themselves the reins of government. There's a little bit more to the sentence and everything, and that's the most important part I want to say. He was against having two parties. And I just kind of think that in line with, again, being Washington's birthday and all that good stuff and everything, that I would remind everybody that about those kinds of things. I'm not talking about the political parties in this post and everything, but just that the danger that can happen when people kind of take power for themselves, that's really what resonated with me. Now, I have problems with George Washington because in his pursuit, there's a very good book called Ona Judge is her name. A slave that George Washington had, or rather his wife Mary did. And there's a wonderful, wonderful book by Erica Armstrong Dunbar, I think is her name. And she talked about this one passage in the book in which George Washington, when he was in Pennsylvania, he knew what the law was. And he knew that he was supposed to be, that in Pennsylvania, if you brought slaves with you on soil in Pennsylvania, the day after the 6th month, the slave was entitled to walk themselves right down to, maybe it's the courthouse, I don't know. They were able to walk themselves down there and petition for freedom because simply by virtue of them being on Pennsylvania soil for 6 months and 1 day. Whew, that's where I'm from, born and raised Pennsylvania. But anyway, George Washington, what he did, or I don't know whether it's him or his wife or maybe both of them, they were rotating their slaves. And so what they did was, before that 6-month trigger would come up, they figured to themselves, oh, time to go, time to shuttle them back to Mount Vernon and everything so that we won't have to follow this law. I don't really like George for that. I think that's, but anyway, I do understand that the slaves were actually Mary's. It belonged to her estate because Mary was married before George was, and, to someone else. And that the slaves were actually hers, and he just, he was trying to avoid being in trouble with Mary. Mary actually had all the money. Yay, Mary. She had the slaves. Boo, Mary. But anyway, maybe this is one of the things. I see one of these other quotes that come out all the time from people. Pablo Picasso said it this way: learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. Even the Dalai Lama said, know the rules well so you can break them effectively. Well, what I have to say then, I guess almost in conclusion here, is this. Attorney Grievance Commission, Court of Appeals, Bar Council, Brian Frosh, everybody in the Attorney General's office who pursues someone in a court situation like you are doing so with me in 2 court cases, 2 of them, in which you guys did the same, let's just call it what it is, bullshit. You did the same bullshit, and you did so knowing that the rules say that you're not supposed to do that. But I guess maybe you were thinking to yourselves that since you know them, know them like a pro, break them like an artist. Well, I guess if you know that you have somebody or you have people that will protect you, and so that the rules will never be made to apply to you, well, I guess if you have that in and you know that, well, I guess then you know exactly what you're going to be able to do, and you just no skin off your back. It just goes whoop, shoop. It just, ow. Well, the problem is that it's election season, and I want every person who sees this to just remember this thing when going to the ballot. I want you to pay attention to the people that actually are listening to you, listening to your concerns. And this is for the general public. I want you to pay attention to the politicians who are listening to your grievances, that are watching what it is that's going on, who are asking questions, who are stepping in, advancing and saying, halt, wait, that's not right. Let's stop this right now before this goes any further. This should not be happening. I'm looking for those people, General Assembly. Who in the General Assembly exactly is that? Any of you? Because I know that you guys are getting this. I know that you guys are getting this. So I'm just wondering, who's it going to be? Do any of you have what it takes to do that? Or are you all afraid of the Attorney Grievance Commission and whatever else? Oh, well, there is Linda Lamone, who's the chair of that, and then she's also the chair, I guess, or the one that runs pretty much the state elections. Folks, ow. Okay, well, I mean, is that why you're afraid? Okay, well, hear me when I say I'm not afraid. Okay, so if you've heard about the case about Ty Clevenger that's coming up for oral arguments, good. If you haven't, you should check it out. You should read it and everything and see the stuff that he had to say and what was going on in the case and so forth and everything before the Attorney General stepped in and did what they're doing. And then, well then, unless we're going to see how fast it takes for them to attempt to try to seal the case that I have now just filed. I just want to see how long. I predict that they already are trying to work on how to seal it and so forth and whatever. So I want to see, I'm going to take bets on that actually. I'll take anybody's bet for how far, how long it's going to take for them to do that. No time at all, I'm quite sure. So, but as long as I'm able to, I'm going to keep it open. I'm putting everything open, a disclosure about everything, because no, you don't get to do this whole thing of what's done in the dark. You get to do this in the dark. No, what's done in the dark eventually comes to light. Welcome to 2018, where the light reigns. Yeah. We're going to be remembering this for the election season and for November elections. Mark my words. All right, have a good weekend.